Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the UC Merced Student Career Center podcast career conversation series. We have an exciting guest today, really going to talk about some really awesome opportunities for students and beyond, maybe for engagement, for careers, and other areas. I know that you'll really appreciate his insight and his stories that he has. But first, we host career conversations as a way for you, the student, or others to really connect with individuals from our region and beyond to really focus on career exploration, career development, trends, and a way to better prepare yourself for your next steps. And we do that out of our Student Career Center because it's our hope that we can help make you competitive and help make you compete out there once you are done with a 4-year education at UC Merced. Joining me today is Patrick with CED. He's going to explore a little bit about what they do, what they're looking for, and a lot of cool things that are up and coming within their organization. And so we'll go and jump right into it. We'll start with the first question, and this is the question, by the way, that's always given usually. I mean, this is 95% of the time a question that's given as part of the interview process. This is usually the first question that is given to most people that are going into entry-level jobs. And so, Patrick, I'm going to give you the question. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, let's see how well I do with this question. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to take part in your podcast. This is the first opportunity I've ever had to be in a podcast, so it's pretty exciting. And UC Merced has been a university that I've recruited at for a number of years. So I'm really happy to be participating in this process right now, and hopefully there's some students out there who hear something they like and can reach out to us and explore some of the opportunities with our company. Now, my history with CED started back when I was graduating from college. I'm from Illinois originally. My original plan was to become a CPA, and I made a decision towards the end of my college career that I wanted to get into sales and management. So I found CED. CED was at our career fair. I went through the recruiting process with them. They asked me where I wanted to live, which I found interesting that they were interested in where I wanted to live rather than just tell me where. And that's how I ended up coming to California. So I've been with CED now for over 26 years. I started off in their management training program, which is an in-depth training program that teaches you everything about our business, gives you a very strong foundation in how we operate so that you can run a location with the control of an owner. And that's what makes us unique, is that ever since our company started in the 50s, the owners felt it was very important for the manager to run their location like their own business. And that type of control, the fact that I'm not micromanaged, has been the defining factor that has kept me engaged and with this company for so long, and will keep me with this company until I retire.
That sounds fantastic, and thank you for acing the question. I mean, that's a really good way, students. If you're watching this, a really good way to handle that question, and you will get that question eventually. So on the ideas of trends, because our broadcast is really big on trends and really discovering what is to come. What trends are you currently seeing within the electrical industry? How can students stay on top of it?
Well, so in general, as an electrical wholesale business, we sell every kind of electrical product to electricians. That's just the very general nature of our business. But as things evolve, we will get more involved in those such as solar, electric vehicles. Um, as I was mentioning previously, I'm excited about commercial space business and how that's going to impact what we do as an electrical wholesale business. But I think that electric vehicles right now are one of the hot topics that we talk about within our organization. We're already selling a lot of vehicle charging stations that our customers are installing up and down the state and throughout the country. The requirements for a business or a house as far as electrical goes is going to change as well, and that's going to impact our business and help our business grow. So that's exciting. We've been involved in a lot of energy management and energy retrofit business leading up to today. So we sell a lot of LED lighting. At this university here, I think a lot of your lighting is LED. 10 years ago or 15 years ago, we were still selling a lot of old-fashioned incandescent light bulbs and fluorescent light bulbs. But one of the things I would say that's really important, and this is probably not necessarily specific to us, but more of a general skill for people in business in general, and that is to be flexible and adaptable. I can recall when I started in this business, it was rare for things to change, and you might see a change within your organization or the market, maybe once a year or a couple times a year. But now it's fairly frequent and ongoing, and that's just the nature of how we as an organization develop, but also the marketplace. So being able to adapt to new challenges, new opportunities is going to help you become successful at whatever you do.
And I agree. I think that's really incredible. I was just remembering it's 2023 because we're recording this, so you may come from the future and view this video in the future. But I just remember in the past Super Bowl in 2023. I just remember watching the ads from cars and noticed that I don't think there was one car commercial that really focused on like gasoline, traditional gasoline automobiles. You're seeing a huge transition to electrical. And so you're right, there's a lot of support in that area, and you can clearly see it in the automotive industry that they're going all into that direction. On the idea of these trends, how can our current students better prepare themselves to adapt to these new trends? Anything that they can do like right now, sitting in their seat, watching this video, anything that they can do right now to start that process of preparing for those trends?
Yeah, I've got two answers to that. One is an answer that I think also would be applicable to any type of career that someone wants to get into. Another one would be more specific to what we do with CED. So the first one is a recommendation that my father gave me a long time ago, and that was to constantly read. Find books that are related to topics related to the career you want to go into. Since mine's business, I look for books that have to do with different management styles, how people have run companies, ways to connect with people, just a whole host of different things. And that extra perspective you get from them is helpful. You never really know when you're going to need it, and you may need it then. So reading books is a definite must. And I know you're probably reading a lot of books in college as it is, so I'm sure you're not wanting to read more, but it is definitely a plus. The second thing, which would be more specific to my business, is pay attention to your local market. You can look up publications that have topics related to new developments in your area, new construction projects that are coming up. I personally really enjoy it, obviously, because that means that that's potential future business for us. But I also like to see how my community is growing. Here at UC Merced, for all the years I've been to this university, every single time I come here, there's something new. So, if you take that and kind of broaden that out to your overall city or town, having an understanding of what's going on, I think is helpful. And again, in our business, that would be applicable just to have an understanding of what's coming up. So when customers come in and they're talking to you about these projects, you're already somewhat aware of what's happening out there.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. I know that's really good advice. I think right now, again, 2023, I think that's a great strategy going forward for a lot of our student population. speaking of, if they're interested in joining CED, what recommendations can you actually give them to really increase their visibility in the application process? What can make them really competitive? You're reviewing an application. What really draws you in and says this person is CED material?
Well, a couple of things. One, if you've had any experience leading a team or managing people, try to highlight that experience. What you've learned from being in a role to manage others. It's not always something that I find, especially when I'm meeting college students, and many of them haven't had a whole lot of experience. But outside of that, what they have had in order to get to college and to graduate college is probably a lot of discipline and an ability to manage their time effectively. So somehow or another, try to highlight the way that you manage your time. Are you good at goal setting? And describe some goals that you've set and you've accomplished. In the business world, managing your time is one of the most critical things you can do. On top of that is adding the goals into that. So if you are able to manage your time well, set good goals, I can guarantee you you're going to achieve them. The only thing I won't be able to tell you is how long it's going to take.
Thank you. Any specific skill sets, experiences that you may be looking in terms of being able to work at CED? So, like, I know this might be in a student's resume, they might be like just jotting notes down, like, oh, these skill sets, these experiences. But any particular skill sets or keywords that they should be aware of that you really look for?
So we have a specific type of industry, and I know when I start talking about what we do to prospective students, I just imagine they're probably thinking, well, I don't have any experience in that. I don't know anything about the electrical business or electrical products. You do not need to have any experience there. It's rare for me to find someone who has a background. Perhaps one of their parents is or was an electrician or worked for a company like ours before, but that's not common. We will teach you everything you need to know as far as the products that we sell and what our customers use them for. I think something that is important to have is an ability to make decisions, to be comfortable making decisions. Some decisions are easier than others, but if you are running a business, you're going to need to make a decision that sometimes people might not totally agree with. And being comfortable with that is important. It doesn't necessarily make it easy, but you want to be able to manage that well. Again, going back to having good habits of setting goals, that's always important, I think, in any kind of career that you're going to get into. The last thing I would say is enjoy working with a team. Enjoy working with others. Again, our business model is unique where a manager has really total control to run their location like their own business, but it's a team effort. It's not just you. And so enjoying, building those relationships with your team and customers is something that I look for. Someone who enjoys talking to others, getting to know something about them. If it's a business, getting to understand how the business operates, what are their challenges that they've got currently, and how can we as a business help them address those challenges.
That's fantastic, and also really good advice. And thank you for allowing our students to take notes on those excellent experiences and skill sets that you believe are needed to really thrive in CED. Our next question is a question everyone gets. It is well known in this office and beyond that bubblegum flavor ice cream is my arch nemesis. I just don't get it. You have bubblegum flavored ice cream. It tastes like bubblegum. I mean, if I want that flavor, I just chew bubblegum, right? And so my question is, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Why is it not bubblegum?
I like this question a lot, and it's funny that you picked bubblegum. It's not my favorite, but it is a flavor that I will include sometimes. My favorite would definitely be mint chocolate chip. But my youngest daughter has always been one who's been pretty adventurous when it comes to the different ice creams that she gets and all the stuff she throws in there. It ends up looking like a crazy concoction of candy and ice cream. But bubblegum was one of the ones that she would always get. And eventually I thought, well, I like the color. We'll see what it tastes like. So I do like bubblegum, but my favorite is definitely mint chocolate chip.
And that's amazing because anyone that is a fan of the show will know that that's actually my favorite ice cream flavor too, mint chocolate chip. That's a good ice cream flavor.
Great minds think alike.
And so still, though, have not found the person to say bubblegum is their go-to in terms of their favorite. Waiting for came close. So back to CED. Really, what are you excited about the most regarding the future of the electrical business and CED? You mentioned a couple industries itself, but for you, what are you really excited about regarding the future of the electrical business as well as the CED itself?
Well, as a whole, I think we are a business that will be around for a very long time. I can remember when I interviewed with the division manager for this company a long time ago. He highlighted the fact that we are in an industry that's continuing to grow. We're not selling products that are going away, and we are adaptable. So for the 26 years I've been with CED, I've seen us continue to grow and get into different markets. Solar being one, for example. That part of our business started with one manager who decided to set up a separate business in his location to sell to solar contractors back in 2008. Today, it's evolved to where it has become big enough to be its own region within our company. And the owners of CED also have a similar business in the UK, Australia, and Canada. And this solar part of our business grew to the UK and some of those other areas as well. But the important part of that is that came from a manager. It would never have come from the top down. And it is exciting to see what the future may hold. Maybe another manager will have another idea about a type of business and a type of opportunity that will catch fire, and we'll end up with another growth spurt like that. Personally, for me, I'm old enough. I grew up watching Star Wars when it first came out, and so I feel like I'm a Star Wars kid. To that extent, I'm really excited to see companies out there that are getting into private commercial space business. And as an electrical wholesaler, that means that there is electrical products that we're going to get to sell to these companies, whether it's to operate here in the U.S. and or to help them with projects that may be, on the moon. And so I personally think that there will be a time in my future that I'll be able to look at the moon, see some lights on the moon, because we finally have enough up there to actually see some people, and that's exciting to me. I think it is a very positive part of our business that could be very big in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, even here, everything runs on electricity, manufacturing, your home, your car, the personal computer that you have in your pocket. I mean, everything is really utilizing electricity and some in order to just keep the world moving. Now we're looking at keeping the moon moving too. Sometime in the future. I know that there are plans in this decade to sort of do something up there. So should be really, really interesting for years to come. And like I said, this is an industry that there's just needs everywhere because, again, everything runs on electricity nowadays. Uh, if students are excited about possibly finding a role at CED, what should be their next step? So, where should they go as well? So, like they're in this podcast, they're listening, they're like, I want to go and do this. What can they do right now to sort of maybe apply, or is it going to their website? Is it the typical application process? What would you recommend?
There's two things they can do. One would be to go to our careers website, which is www.cedcareers.com. When you go there, you can look at information about the company. You can also find testimonials of other former trainees who are now managers. You get a little bit more understanding of what the electrical business is like and what we do. And you can apply. You can apply for the management training position, or you may see some other positions on there as well. And so when you do apply, you will be able to, pick a particular area you may want to work. And if that happens to be, let's say, Central California, then those resumes are going to come to me. The other option is that people can just reach out to me directly. Recruiting and mentoring trainees and new managers is my number one responsibility as a division manager, and quite frankly, it's where I get my job satisfaction from. So that is also another way that they can do it, and they can reach me through my email address or cell phone. My email address would be patrick.o'rourke@ced.com, and either one works, so they both come to me.
That sounds good. And you usually go to a lot of career events at UC Merced as well. I know that I've seen you around at some of the programming that we have here. Career fairs come to mind. At our famous career fairs that we have at UC Merced, they're actually really well run. And so you might actually, if you're a student in the audience as well, you might actually be able to see Patrick and CED sometime in the future when they come to campus. And they're looking to engage, they're looking to network, they're looking for a conversation with you. And so if you're going to the career fair, keep an eye out as well for CED and Patrick. And so any last words of advice to our student audience that may be interested in joining in? Any other aspects that you would like to share?
Well, I will just tag on to what you just said. I definitely come to all the career fairs. At UC Merced, I will be here at the next one coming in March. And I have hired several people from my recruiting efforts here over the years. So I'm happy to say I just promoted my last hire from UC Merced to manage a position in Gilroy. So that's exciting. But I think what I would add, and UC Merced has a great career fair. I think the student turnout is fantastic. It's a well-run career fair, and I do recruit at other universities, so it's interesting to compare and contrast. But UC Merced's always been one of my favorite. But if you're a little unsure, take time to go to a career fair, walk around, and talk to as many companies as you can. I do see more and more freshmen and sophomores showing up to career fairs, looking for internships or just simply trying to get some experience talking to businesses, and that is such a good idea. By the time you're a junior and senior and you're ready to finally find a career or an opportunity when you graduate, you're going to be so comfortable talking to companies that you're going to stand out, and it'll make the process a lot smoother for you.
Yeah, I always say that career fairs are a lot of times how people get hired. I mean, there's that face-to-face interaction, that personal development, and that personal connection. It helps you through the application process. You can't really beat it, in my opinion, of just getting that face time. I always see career fairs as like you're skipping that first step of like submitting an application online, and you're immediately going to that sort of meetup type of interview scenario almost. And so it's one of my favorite times of the year. I'm glad that you'll be there on March 15th. I'm glad you plugged the career fair. March 15th, everyone, in the conference center, 11 to 2. You should for sure register for it. It is a cannot miss event at UC Merced. It's really well done. Well, with that, I appreciate your time, and I hope that our students do check you out not only at the career fair, but if they're interested right now, maybe accessing and seeing what they can do to advance themselves within CED. Thank you so much, Patrick, for joining us today. And reminder to our student audience, we will have more of these career conversations uploaded in the future. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.